Welcome back to Damon Bruce Plus, brought to you by Ike's Sandwiches, and the 49ers have done it again, breaking open the wallet for huge dollars, this time for linebacker Fred Warner, who had a couple of years still under contract, but he has now a new extension, $63 million contract extension over the next 3 years, including a $56 million signing bonus, guaranteed money. That makes him the highest paid linebacker in all of football. This is another no-brainer. Again, an awful lot of money, but there are certain guys that you bet on, and Fred Warner is indeed one of them. An absolute leader on this team. On the field, in the locker room, off the field, Fred Warner is an All-American in every direction. And one of the reasons why he's so valuable is he plays in every direction. Find me a linebacker better against the pass than Fred Warner. Show me a guy who tackles them right there, right where he meets them, more than Fred Warner. Now, last year was a little bit of a rough year for Fred. Few missed tackles here and there, and then we find out later on in the year that he'd been playing on a broken ankle for most of the year. This was not an injury that hit the injury report, which is a whole other video about how the 49ers sort of masked that, maybe the Christian McCaffrey injury. But Fred Warner, certainly that injury explains why his year was a little off, why the defense didn't play well. And I'll tell you, with a new, very much rookie-driven defensive line and new faces and new places everywhere, having a guy like Fred Warner back in the mix, it had to happen. And it has happened. There's a guy here who's recorded 100 tackles in each season in his first 7 seasons here. 4 Pro Bowl selection, All-Pro, first team honors 4 different times. Again, some guys you bet on. Some guys you stop betting on at a certain age in their career. Fred Warner is not there yet. The 49ers need him. The 49ers wanted him back and obviously have expressed that with huge dollars. Again, you cannot be more than the highest paid player at your position, and that is indeed what Fred Warner is now. The 49ers have a couple of those because earlier this offseason, we saw George Kittle broken off a brand new extension, 76.4 for George, making him the highest paid tight end in the league. And then, of course, just this past Friday, Brock Purdy got broken off in a big way, but not as big as some people had feared. You know, these extensions do start adding up, and there's no coincidence at all that the week after Jed York and the 49ers come into a new windfall of money based on a small percentage sell-off of the team to 3 Bay Area tech-driven families who got bottomless pockets when it comes to money. The 49ers, as of right now, during this live stream, are the most valuable sporting franchise in the world because they just took a little of their marketplace to market. They sold it. And this isn't a list in Forbes telling them what they might be worth. This is a real money, real time valuation. And to sell off 6% of a franchise and walk away with more than $500 million means the Niners are in great shape, and all of these contracts can now be put in escrow without the Yorks even worrying about a blade of grass not getting cut on their front lawn. They won't even feel this thanks to the little bit of a sell-off that they just had. Where they will feel these guys being in the room, remaining in the room, is going to be when training camp opens. And there's no doubt about that. When you look at who is back with the 49ers, you know, there's a lot of time this offseason spent at looking who was gone. But boy, important names and important voices remain in this room. And I think that's going to be a huge part of their success. You know, they might not have added a lot of household free agents this offseason. Now, with these extensions to keep important pieces in place, I think there's a little bit more clarity about that, why that all happened. And also, you know, these rookies, the new guys on the team, 18 new faces at the very least, going to be part of the 49ers this year. And they need to learn from those who have been here, those who have been in this franchise's system for a while, exactly how things are done. And the right guys are in place to absolutely teach the new guys the ways of the 49ers. Look, San Francisco has had one of the best defensive players in all of football since the day they drafted Fred Warner. Again, what direction doesn't he play well in? He's good coming forward. He's great in the back pedal. Nobody covers sideline to sideline better than this guy. He is uniquely positioned to be a modern NFL middle linebacker. He really is. He's got all the goods that you would need in a safety, an awful lot of the talent that you would find in a defensive lineman, and you put it all in the middle there and just really the perfect modern middle linebacker that you're going to find anywhere. So this is great. Robert Salah has got to be thrilled to see this. And the 49ers' commitment to getting better defensively is represented in the fact that Robert Salah is back in the room. He helped make Fred Warner as successful as he's been up to this point in his career, and I think is going to extract the best of Fred Warner, whatever is left in him. Is he a spring chicken? Is this a young man in terms of football years? My gosh, no. 7 years? It's like dog years. He might as well have been a professional athlete now for 21 years. That's how ruthless and grinding the NFL is on a guy's body. But this guy is still in incredible shape. And again, there are certain people that you want to bet on because you like their chemistry. You like how they're wired as a human being. And if you look at the extensions to Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and Fred Warner, you're seeing the same guy being re-signed. Somebody who really knows their way around a football field in terms of, do you produce? Are you good at what you do? Somebody that coaches are really attracted to coaching and get the best out of them and can depend on them. You got guys who are beloved in their own locker rooms. You've got guys who are great in the community. I've seen Fred Warner at charity events. I'm a guardsman. This helmet behind me. We are a long-standing charitable organization to raise money for at-risk youth here in the Bay Area and in San Francisco. And Fred Warner has answered the bell many times, showing up to our sports auctions, just being a wonderful guy to be around. He represents himself well. He represents the 49ers very well. You should see this guy, kneeling next to kids in wheelchairs, shaking the hands of older veterans from wars who come and watch the 49er. He's got generational appeal. He's an absolute gentleman. And on a football field, he's a badass. There's no way pretending that Fred Warner doesn't clean up. And he does. He really, really does. This is another huge signing for the 49ers. Again, the number 63 million. 56 in guaranteed money for Fred Warner. He is now the NFL's highest paid linebacker. Couldn't happen to a better player. Couldn't happen to a better guy. And hopefully he can stay healthy and live up to this. Is there a little let's pay you for what you've done going on here? Yeah, but that's baked into, I think, an awful lot of contracts when a guy comes on back. And you sign a third contract with the team. That is a rare thing. Fred had his rookie deal, his first extension, and now, once again, like George Kittle, a third contract with the San Francisco 49ers. It shouldn't have been hard for them, really. I know it's a lot of money out the door, but remember, the cap numbers that are making you sweat a little bit when you see them right now are completely digestible and completely normal going forward. This amount of money for a linebacker, which was you can't be paying defensive players $20 million a year when you're paying offensive players $20 million. Yeah, that NFL doesn't exist anymore. We are now going to be looking at a league where every single position, but for long snapper, punter, and kicker, are $20 million a year operations when you are regarded as one of the best at what you do. This is going to be reflected in growing cap numbers dramatically. You know how every single offseason now you're looking at a cap number where, oh man, they're up 20%, they're up 23%, up 30% from the year before. That's going to have to keep going in that direction because as revenue comes in, as players say, break me off what I'm worth, it's going to be a $20 million a year conversation by position in this league for someone that we all agree that's a good player. Do you root for that team? No, I don't. But will you tell me for sure he's a good player? Yes, I will. That guy's making $20 million a year in this league. So the cap is going to go up. the numbers that you don't think are going to fit with the rest of the team that you got to sign around these guys right now. These look like huge puzzle pieces that are taking up way too much of the puzzle board. Believe me, these pieces will fit as we go forward. Believe it. It's going to happen. They will fit. The 49ers are not just playing in the moment football. They're playing down the board football. A lot of the purge of their roster was to clear the tracks to be able to continue to meet the demands of growing NFL salary and meet the demands of their players that they were sure they wanted to keep around. And I think that in Fred Warner, in George Kittle, and in Brock Purdy, they found 3 of those players. Now, maybe you disagree. Maybe you think this is too much money to be spending this, on a player this long in the tooth. Well, that doesn't apply to Brock. He's still new. But Fred Warner and George Kittle have officially been Niners a long time now. And again, these guys carry the brand. They carry the culture. And they're going to carry the burden to live up to huge dollar amounts late in their careers. They're going to need to do that with outstanding health and obviously production. Kittle, it always feels like there's a game or two that he just misses due to the wear or tear of the season and how he plays. Fred Warner, boy, he's got to be out there. The 49ers get pretty shallow at linebacker quickly without Fred Warner in the mix. And with him in the mix, they have one of the best in all of football. A guy who really does, he's like a rising tide. The boats in the harbor are better around Fred Warner when he's the guy in the harbor for sure. So an awful lot to like about this. Really nothing negative to say in any direction. Fred Warner, you needed him. You had to have him, and he's not going anywhere. It really looks like at this particular time in his career, he might not ever put on another uniform. And if you're a 49ers fan, you're very, very happy to hear about that. Like and subscribe if you would. Leave a comment. I am very interested to see what you have to think about the 49ers' latest expenditure. Fred Warner, again, big money. 3 years, $63 million, $56 in guaranteed money. The NFL's highest paid linebacker and one of the good guys. Happy to see it.